Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Ambazonia this week. It's an important weekend for us because we will be strategizing for the transition fund drive the president announced last week. Today was supposed to be the day, but for some strategic reasons, it would have been shifted into next week. It's important that as we look into the week in retrospection, we try to revive the reasons why Ambazonians would come together at every given moment when there is a clarion call. There is a video I was playing to those who were already connected in the Zoom meeting earlier on. I think an audio, most of you would have heard it, that will lay down the foundation for this program to begin this evening. It was the audio of the president actually reiterating the importance of this rendezvous. Let's hear him.
Dear Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, I want to inform you that we are postponing our mega launch of the Ambazonia Transition Fund by 1 week. That means the launch is now scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of October 2024, and the time is 8 p.m. Boya time. Instead, on Saturday, the 19th of October, I will be holding a planning meeting, an extended planning meeting with the federal constituency to ensure a very successful event. Here is my open letter to all our members, supporters, and well-wishers of the Ambazonian struggle. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you all for the relentless sacrifices you have made over the years towards our collective fight for the restoration of our sovereignty as Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Your efforts, sacrifices, and unwavering dedication have carried this struggle forward, and we are now entering a critical phase, what I call the transition phase. And this demands even greater unity, focus, and sacrifices from us. However, as we press on, we recognize that some of our most valuable supporters and actors are showing signs of fatigue, and that is natural. To those of you who once stood in the forefront of this struggle, giving sacrificially of your time, resources, and energy, but step down your commitment for a season. I humbly appeal to you that the work is not yet done. The dividend of our labor is now within reach. But now, more than ever, we need you to rise again, all of us, and strengthen this movement, strengthen our endeavor as we push towards the finish line. This is the moment when our continued support is most crucial. To our brothers and sisters at home and abroad who have watched from the sidelines, this is your call to join the train, or you will be left out permanently. We are transitioning into a decisive phase in our struggle, and we want to number our winning team now. The sacrifices made by so many of us will be in vain if we do not seize the opportunity before us. There are movements, if I can tell you, happening right now, both within Ambazonia and without, that we must take full advantage of. The stakes are extremely high, higher than ever. It is like a farmer who toils through the seasons, but if he lacks the means to harvest, to gather the harvest, all his hard work will be in vain. It is not the time for factionalism. It is not the time to follow the cliques. It's not time for division. It is not the time to dwell in what separates us. We must unite, setting aside differences in ideology or approach. We need to focus and do our utmost singularly towards the common goal that binds all of us: the freedom, the unconditional freedom and restoration of Ambazonia. We must join hands and contribute to this transition phase as if everything depends on it right now, because it does. If we falter now, just to repeat myself, all the sacrifices of yesterday will be wasted. The blood, the sweat, and the tears that we have shed for our cause must not be forgotten. And we owe it to ourselves, to our fallen heroes, the patriarchs, and to our future generations to ensure that Ambazonia is free indeed in our lifetime. Our journey has not been easy, yes, but no meaningful fight for freedom ever is. Let us come together with renewed determination, putting away anything that hinders, distracts our collective progress. face. The time to act is now. See you on October 26 or before. October 26, 2024 with at least $1,000. It's not too much to request as we board the train to Buea to start funding our strategic operations during this very critical phase. Yours in solidarity. I am your servant in chief. God bless you and God bless our beautiful nation.
If you heard the president well and would interpret like myself, you would have heard the president actually saying, this is a time for us to ignore small things. There are just some things that we need to be more tolerant about, not because we like them, but because it's a critical distraction. There are distractions that we get ourselves entangled with unconsciously, and that distractions that have been calculatedly placed on our way. If we have the ability to identify them, and one way to identify them, or probably to be delivered from the evil that comes with them, is to overlook. Overlooking a situation really doesn't mean you're weak. A lot is happening in the Cameroons right now, and Ambazonia needs to be positioned, like the president is calling, to take advantage of the situation. One of which is a video by Dieudonné Essomba. He has been advising the Cameroonian government on the media for ages. Apparently, nobody in that institution seems to be listening. One of these advice is something of great interest, and right after that, we'll commence our conversation. Just listen to him. It's in French, but fortunately, we have some people here that will help us in interpreting and explaining and also illustrating how Ambazonia can position themselves to take advantage in an eventuality that anarchy becomes the state of the situation. Stay tuned.
Et je peux vous annoncer que, je l'ai toujours dit, il n'est pas possible à une force camerounaise de contrôler le Cameroun unitaire si Biya disparaît aujourd'hui. Les tensions sont si importantes, les ambitions collectives, les ambitions tribales, les ambitions communautaires, les ambitions politiques sont telles que le choix d'un président après Biya va se faire à la maquette. Tout simplement parce que le régime actuel n'aura pas su se délester d'une bonne partie du pouvoir pour rendre son pouvoir moins attractif. Aujourd'hui, quand vous allez au Grand Nord, au Nord, vous allez à l'Est, vous allez au Centre, c'est tout le monde qui regarde le pouvoir d'État avec les yeux rouges. Ceux-ci disent, on vous avait le pouvoir, on vous a remis, remettez-nous le pouvoir. D'autres disent que le pouvoir étant chez nous, il ne part pas. D'autres disent que vous avez déjà assez mangé. Et vous ne pouvez pas, vous-même, quand vous êtes un peuple lucide, quand vous êtes une élite lucide, laisser prospérer un tel volcan. Je ne sais donc pas pourquoi le RDPC n'arrive pas à comprendre la dangerosité même de cette
Good evening, Barrister Fru. Good evening, Barrister Mbeseha. Thank you both for connecting. I want to believe you can hear me. There was no better for us to have commenced this discussion. I'd like to remind those who are watching us, the president is inviting stakeholders for a pre-planning mobilization towards next Saturday. If you are not yet logged into the Zoom, please endeavor to do so as you watch this program. We are also streaming there and will be interrupted as soon as they are ready to begin. But we have a lot to talk about this evening, Barrister Fru, Barrister Mbeseha, one of which would be how Ambazonia can position themselves ahead of the unfoldings in the Cameroons with the colonial administration. You heard Diodene Esomba there. What do you have to say? Let me begin with you, Barrister Fru. Please talk to us.
Yes, Esomba is one who has been championing this issue of federation. And so I don't just like listening to him. He says good things and ends upset talking about federation. On what basis? If he knows the history of the Southern Cameroons and Ambazonia, he should not be trying to ram down this issue of federation. Well, he's talking in the dungeon of La République du Cameroon, so I will not blame it on him. But what is happening in La République du Cameroon is an opportunity for us to make certain, very tough decisions, and with huge amounts, get the necessary equipment so that we can position ourselves in such a way that we will now just move into transition without them. I don't want to get into the what we need to do, but there are security reasons why I will not say anything of that nature. But like the president says, events are happening, and we need to act and act fast. That's all I will say.
I cannot agree any less, but that's why there is so how important is this whole this clarion call of the president, because this should be one of the things that's happening. Ambazonia has to be ready, and perhaps some
Yes,
are still not understanding the importance of that, which is what the leadership is factoring out, in addition to other things, really good things that are happening at the background. So how important is this call of the
yes,
president? Is something we need to talk on a little bit more before we move forward.
yeah. The key word, Paddy, is transition. The transition operations. That's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It needs a lot of resources. So the president is calling on all of us, all of us, at least $1,000 each. I don't know whether it will be enough, but like we say, there will be other sources to supplement what we ourselves will start with. It's a very important period for us. It is very, very important, and because if you want to know, Paddy, the transition in La République du Cameroon is not going to be easy. We don't want to be caught in that mess, and we don't want it to overflow into our territory. So we need to work very hard and very fast. There are so many things that we know that we will not want to talk on the air, but that is all I can say for now. I'm sorry.
That's much respected. Mr. Mbeseha, you were cut off air there. You're welcome. Can you hear me? Mr.
Oh,
Mbeseha,
he's
can you hear me?
frozen.
Yeah,
I'm
apparently
getting you.
yes,
I'm getting
apparently
you.
apparently you were cut off air. We just played the video of the Cameroon. I'm sorry, let me stop this sound. The Cameroon
Yes.
activists on TV, Diodene Esomba, who is telling them their army is incapable of sustaining the country in any eventuality of Biya's absence. Inevitable, I would call it an inevitable absence. In other words, he is advising them to probably prepare ahead of time. So my question is, how can Ambazonia position themselves if such a thing would happen, how would Ambazonia position themselves? We also played the audio of the president actually making a call and insisting for Ambazonians to see the need. Like Barrister Fru said, the underlining word is transition, and that will require a lot of resources. Please talk to us so that we can make progress.
Well, sorry, I missed the audio of a somber, but I think the audio of a somber, if that's what it says, is a bare repetition of what many people have told our Republic of Cameroon. Our own great Wilbur told them, bring in all the military that you have plus one of France. You're not going to be able to defeat Cameroon, Ambazonia. And we've been saying that. But I think somebody is saying this now in the context of what is going on in Yaoundé, in Cameroon. The uncertainty that reigns over that country, and the high possibility that there might be war, there might be a struggle leading to war. The thing is, if that does happen, does anybody believe that the Republic of Cameroon will, which is made of factions, of different factions from ethnic to political groupings? The Bamilikes are an ethnic grouping. The Hausas, the Boros constitute one. The Bulu Betis constitute one, and so on and so forth. Once that disorder comes in, does anybody believe that, for example, an Hausa man who is fighting, for example, in Buea or in Bamenda will, instead of going back to defend their own territory, be fighting to defeat Ambazonia? The chances are that they will go back. If they are Bamilikes, they will go back to their front. If they are the Bulus, they will go back to defend their acquired rights, they call them, the regime that they have owned for 40 years. In that process, there's no doubt that there will be a lot of vacuum left. There will be a lot of opportunities offered for us, Ambazonians. How do we take advantage of that? I think is your question. If that is the issue, I think the president has strategized more on that. We must take advantage of it. And publicly, what we can say, without knowing what the president has in stock, is that it is a military struggle. We only take advantage of it if we are also militarily strong, if we are sufficiently armed to position ourselves where we have not been. I've asked this question before. Suppose, for example, Mr. Lele Afrique were to escape from Bamenda to retire to Mbunda, where he feels sheltered. Suppose Mr. Okala Bilai left Buea and went back to Douala, where he has been living permanently. What becomes of the governor's office, be it in Bamenda or in Buea? Will you, Paddy or me, just walk in there and sit there? Of course, if you do that, they will kill you. If they do, they're surrogate, they're allies, maybe ADF, they can even kill you. And so we need to draft to prepare ourselves in such eventualities. I just gave those two examples as examples because it would occur everywhere in Ambazonia. Preface, the bulk of them, especially in the southwest, what they call southwest, the bulk of their preface are from the La Republique because of the strategic interest they have there, the money that lies there in Victoria, in Kumba, and in Dian. So they would simply withdraw, and they will not withdraw with their empty heads. They will withdraw with their security guard. They don't travel out of Kumba, out of Buea, out of Bamenda without escorts, military escorts, tanks. They will withdraw those things to their war fronts, and then they will leave something symbolic. But we must have something stronger than the symbolism that they will leave there that will enable us to take advantage of it. And so I think, bottom line, as far as the public is concerned, we have to draft, and then leave the strategy and the intelligent part of it to the people concerned. The president leading it, our security agencies are in place. I think they're working hard on that. And our public contribution is like this. Let us contribute. Let us also be prepared. And then the last call to our brothers and sisters who are living somewhere in the Republic of Cameroon, be in Bertoua, be in Yaoundé, be in Douala, be in Bafoussam. The signs are looking dangerous. If you have to survive, we guess you must be making your own plans of exit without leaving your families behind. That's all I can say about it for now. Over to you.
Yeah, Barrister
Paddy,
Fru, you want to say something?
I just want to say something. I've just had a call from Dr. Yaya, the chief of cabinet. They are waiting for me and Barrister Mbeseha at the meeting. So let's do it. Let's do it fast as we can.
Okay. I thought you wanted to make a
No, I
contribution.
wasn't going to it. I was my colleague is in order.
Good. So you've heard what he has said. He has said he has explained some other facets of importance where we can take advantage. But then this has to
Yes,
do with
that is why I didn't want to go because
yeah.
they are all military operations. They are all strategic operations, and it involves intelligence. So we
Now,
cannot be discussing it.
I actually wanted to talk now about money. Um, one way in war and propaganda is your ability to be viable with resources, and there is always a
Yes,
counter. When we set a front, there's always a counter, sometimes from within. And lately, we have seen Cameroon in many different ways trying to defund the struggle by promoting propaganda that creates fear for many in the diaspora. Aside from that, it has not stopped this government from raising money. But we have a certain journalist at his old age who calls himself Eyong, Echo,
yeah.
Larry, or something.
Larry Eyong Echo.
Yeah, at this time, making preposterous statements that are unsubstantiated. I have retaliated for a long time not to be involved because sometimes how do you counter them?
Yeah,
But people that are listening and probably stakeholders that are listening, he's not just the only one propagating such rumors about misappropriations of funds. But there's one challenge the president gave in 2021. He said if you have any case against him, instead of doing so with innuendos, you may want to formalize it and submit it so that a legal procedure can take course. What do we
yeah.
want to tell Ambazonians, government officials, stakeholders, some of whom might be believing this, and those who are not believing, some who are sitting on the fence now because of such situations? I think that is critical before the beginning of this week.
Yes, but let me tell you, Larry Larry Eyong Echo has gone under, ran away from the struggle, and went and tried to go to law school in America and fell on his face. He dropped out of law school and has been unemployed, moving from one state to another, and is virtually a vagabond in the United States. And now he has heard the changes in Cameroon, and he thinks that he should position himself. And the only way to position himself is to slander our president. If I had my way anywhere that I can get hold of Larry Ayo Echong, or whatever they call him, we will sue him for defamation. Get him sued for defamation, because all those declarations that he has made are fallacious and he cannot substantiate. So I think it's better for him to come and tell the court. If let him make one more move, the Federal Republic of Ambazonia will sue him in the court in America. And he should take what I'm saying very, very seriously. I stand corrected. I stand. I'm talking for me, Barrister Mbeseha and Barrister Ghana. We will sue Larry Ayo Echong for defamation of the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. We know how to do it. We will not use names, parties that will be declared non-existent. But he will be sued, and let him come to court and tell the court of America what he just said to that his countryman, also called Eyong, who runs, who is a blogger, that an occasional blogger that nobody sees. Larry Eyong is an old journalist from La Republic of Cameroon. He thought that it was easy in America. He came here, joined, tried to make noise in the struggle. He didn't find his way and ended up to law school. I don't know how he got to law school and could not make it and dropped out. So let him go and sit down quietly. And if he makes one more noise, we will get him sued.
If I understand very well, you're insinuating that probably he's being funded by Cameroon to do such, to propagate such falsehood, or seeking to
No,
position himself
no, no,
in
no,
Cameroon.
no, 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 no. It's positioning. He's trying to position himself because he knows what is happening in Cameroon. If he doesn't know, then he's not worth the journalist that I thought he was. He knows what is happening in Cameroon, so and he sees that the government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is the principal, is the party to go up front with La Republique de Cameroon, and therefore he's jealous of the leadership of the government, and for that reason he thinks that he can do that by slandering Dr. Sako.
There is something.
If he doesn't
Let,
shut his mouth, if he does it again, he will be
let,
sued criminally,
let us
criminal
move on.
liability.
Let us move on by Mbeseha. There's something said there is no smoke without a fire. Do you think that probably um, do you think that probably his allegations are based on inside information from probably coup plotters, attempted coup plotters, and all of that? Do you think so?
Uh, no, 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 no. Let me say this. There are so many people who don't, there's so much out there. Not many people know Larry Eyong, and I'm sure many people don't know what I'm going to say. If Larry Eyong Echo has connected to this struggle, it has been through the side of the SCNC. But this is where Larry Eyong Echo is coming from. All of us remember that when the movement went to Nigeria, there was Skakov. Skakov transitioned into the governing council, and the first spokesperson for the governing council was Bo Herbert. Bo Herbert took that post on the promise that you should be allowed to organize elections by his computer. So when that thing occurred, I called Mr. Fongalamfo in Nigeria. I said, what's happening? How do we talk about doing these elections by using computers? Let us reject this thing. Okay, they consider it. When the third conclave convened, by the time the third conclave convened, they told Bo Herbert, that they would not accept that thing of elections using the computer. And Bo Herbert resigned his position as a spokesperson for the governing council. That was the most powerful position, the spokesperson. When he resigned, they were going to the third conclave now. People approached me. Who do you propose to replace Bo Herbert? I'd met Bo Herbert once in Maryland there in the SCNC. He wrote a small book about the book. So I thought about him. I said, well, why don't you try Bo Herbert? He's from Manu. At the time of this conclave, President Sako was never there. He's from Manu. Again, he's from the Southwest, as they call it. Let us propose his candidature. They accepted. We talked to Larry Eyong Icho. We are going to the next conclave. The position of spokesperson abandoned by Bo Herbert has been abandoned. I want to propose you to take over that post. I told Mr. Ngalamfo, I put out his network over there in Nigeria. The conclave opened. They were about to nominate Larry Eyong Icho as the spokesperson for the revolution. Larry Eyong Icho said, I'm saying this on TV, you can question me. He questioned and how they was not going to be paid. He said that he would only take that position if he was put on a salary of $2,500 a month. This was 2019, I think. There was no money to pay Larry Eyong Icho. The conclave told him, no, we cannot promise you a salary. Everybody here is a volunteer. Larry Eyong Icho withdrew. Without telling me, Mr. Fongalan for calling and say your candidate has withdrawn. I said, why? Larry Eyong Icho told the story that he was withdrawn because his wife is so sick that he cannot afford to do the job. And then left. That was 2019. And so why did he leave again? Because they refused to pay him $2,500 a month. And so we have not heard about Larry Eyong Icho until now. And so his interest in this struggle, I've said if he were ever to enter, he had been an SANC guy. I don't deal with his finances in Maryland with these SANC people. I went to the meeting once, I saw him there, but I didn't live in Maryland. He had issues with finances there. But then, the reason why he didn't join the struggle far back in 2019 was because he wanted to be paid. Now today, that's the topic we're discussing now. He's accusing people I don't know his motive, but it might be, just might be, they have seen some opening lines somewhere and he wants to get some money. I think he's not a credible person. He has no credibility in terms of money. He has no credibility in terms of this vote. You have been nowhere. We're 8 years old into this thing. You have not heard about Larry Eyong Icho anywhere. His last book he published, which I bought a copy, is lying right here with me. It was about Paul Biya and his wife. And so Eyong should not be trusted as far as this struggle is concerned. Or what he's saying is fabrication, because you see, they're asking, someone asking, where did you get the money? He said, the people were paid the money in a kitchen nearby in Virginia or Maryland. What do you mean by kitchen nearby? See, those are all, they look to me like lies. And coincidentally, yesterday I happened to watch ABS and saw Christian crying that Larry Eyong Icho had accused him for being bribed. I was asking Larry Eyong Icho to come forward with the proof. And I retorted that if I'd been there, I would have said that accusations without proof should not be new to Anu, because he brought the deal. He has never brought the proof. If somebody is accusing you without proof, you should not be the one to complain.
Mr. Deal.
Yeah, that's the story
Okay,
behind. I'm not sure that
I'm
many of
never-
us read it. That's the reason you can call me. I hope you have your calling number there. He's free to tell me that what I've said is lie. These were my proposals about him, 2019. He rejected it because he wanted $2,500 a month, because he concluded, well, his wife was so sick that he could not do the job. And so that's how I went back. Over to you.
So you're saying that making allegations without proof should not be new to Mr. Arnold.
It's not new. And it's not new, and that's not even. I would differ from Mr. So that's not the guy who wastes our time suing him, because it's as dry as an empty valley. You will not extract $10 from
No, let me say something here. You sue him. Let me spend some money getting lawyers.
Let me just
But I
laugh.
don't think like Mr. Mbeseha is saying, we don't need to waste energy and time on him. It's just for us
Yes,
to
because
learn.
you will not even get the money to pay the lawyer anyway.
We need to debunk it,
Well,
because it affects donors. When lies like that are propagated, if we don't speak like we're speaking right now, it could affect our framework of function. Don't you think so, Barrister Fru? That I think I agree with Barrister Mbeseha. We don't need to waste resources on a person like that, but we need to use our
yes,
platform or the weapon we have now to tell the people the truth, because they say the truth is light, and when lightness prevails, darkness dissipates. Am I correct on that?
Yes, I agree. I agree that we don't need to use the resources that we were supposed to be using to continue the transition and the fight to the logical end. But what I'm saying is that there are people who are sufficiently angry enough to finance any kind of lawsuit against Larry and slam him to go and try he too can pay a lawyer and sweat.
That's an amazing. I want to take you now to this question, which is leading us to Biya's death. As we are preparing, there are still until this minute that we are preparing this program, there is no proof that Biya is alive. Cameroon has not
But
provided.
before we go to that, Paddy, I'm sorry to call you. This is only summary of Eyong issue. This is book he wrote. This is only work for 20 years.
All right, all right.
Get it? You may choose to talk about that again when we start talking about Chantal Biya and Glencore and her involvement with Glencore. But let's take some order. Right now, as we speak, Biya dead or alive, you have spent time all week with Undaunted to rubbish it. But there is no proof, as we speak, that Biya is alive. Peradventure he is dead. I want to ask a hypothetical question. Why is France trying to hide the health conditions of their leaders of their provinces in Africa? Or why is it so difficult? Or why could they be hiding it? What could be the reason, Barrister Fru, please? You are anticipating?
Yes, Paddy, a cardiologist in France was on the air, and he gave a succinct report on what happened to Biya. First, they're sitting in the Olympic Stadium with plastic on his head and the atmospheric conditions for a 91-year-old man. Second, the series of cardiac crisis that he had, he could not have survived. And nobody in that condition can even go into a coma. So, even though he did not say it outrightly, he let everybody understand that Biya is gone. I don't know what proof we need, but we are waiting for the announcement from the family or from the state of Cameroon or from whoever. But as far as all the evidence are concerned around the world, everybody is aware, given the professional reports that were given by the specialists in the area, the cardiologist in France, he died. That is not, we cannot say for sure with 100% that he died, but from the report of that cardiologist, I think he died. Now, are we saying that France is not giving a report? It is not the place of France to give a report of the president of Cameroon. It is for the Cameroonian government and the Cameroonian people to tell the world about what is happening with their president. Not for France. France has been careful about this matter. They have been quiet but working in the background and using their normal methods to try to ram down some kind of a transition in Cameroon. We are still waiting as to what is going to happen. But France has not made a single statement. France is in order because it is not France's place to tell anybody, all of us, including La République citizens, that their president was sick and this and that, this is his condition, this and that.
Why is there my concern, which I'm bringing to you, but Mbeseha, so that you respond to that quickly, so that we move forward, is why is Cameroon so afraid to even give details? They have gone to the extent of there's execution of the government. They are bullying activist journalists from talking, and peradventure he's dead. Why is it so difficult for them to make an announcement? That's the question.
Well, question will take me back to us. Why is France so worried about the announcement? We must, I think all of that, if not all, call Francophone Africa. By virtue of 1959,
I think by some basis,
The audio.
by
The
some
audio.
basis,
You're not getting me?
your internet
You're not getting me?
is better now. Go ahead.
Are you getting me?
It's
I
better
said
now.
you have to look back. You have to look back to all countries in Africa. And France manages the
It's cutting off, eh?
Yeah, your internet is not the best. Do you want to log out and log in again?
Let me see.
Just try and log out and log in again. Let's take this very short break.
Dear Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, I want to inform you that we are postponing our mega launch of the Ambazonia Transition Fund by 1 week. That means the launch is now scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of October 2024, and the time is 8 p.m. Boya time. Instead, on Saturday, the 19th of October, I will be holding a planning meeting, an extended planning meeting with the federal constituency to ensure a very successful event. Here is my open letter to all our members, supporters, and well-wishers of the Ambazonia struggle. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you all for the relentless sacrifices you have made over the years towards our collective fight for the restoration of our sovereignty as Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Your efforts, sacrifices, and unwavering dedication have carried this struggle forward, and we are now entering a critical phase, what I call the transition phase. And this demands even greater unity, focus, and sacrifices from us. However, as we press on, we recognize that some of our most valuable supporters and actors are showing signs of fatigue, and that is natural. To those of you who once stood in the forefront of this struggle, giving sacrificially of your time, resources, and energy, but step down your commitment for a season. I humbly appeal to you that the work is not yet done. The dividend of our labor is now within reach. But now, more than ever, we need you to rise again, all of us, and strengthen this movement, strengthen our endeavor as we push towards the finish line. This is the moment when our continued support is most crucial. To our brothers and sisters at home and abroad who have watched from the sidelines, this is your call to join the train, or you will be left out permanently. We are transitioning into a decisive phase in our struggle, and we want to number our winning team now. The sacrifices made by so many of us will be in vain if we do not seize the opportunity before us. There are movements, if I can tell you, happening right now, both within Ambazonia and without, that we must take full advantage of. The stakes are extremely high, higher than ever. It is like a farmer who toils through the seasons, but if he lacks the means to harvest, to gather the harvest, all his hard work will be in vain. It is not the time for factionalism. It is not a time to follow the cliques. It's not time for division. It is not the time to dwell in what separates us. We must unite, setting aside differences in ideology or approach. We need to focus and do our utmost singularly towards the common goal that binds all of us: the freedom, the unconditional freedom and restoration of Ambazonia. We must join hands and contribute to this transition phase as if everything depends on it right now, because it does. If we falter now, just to repeat repeat myself, all the sacrifices of yesterday will be wasted. The blood, the sweat, and the tears that we have shed for our cause must not be forgotten. And we owe it to ourselves, to our fallen heroes, the patriarchs, and to our future generations to ensure that Ambazonia is free indeed in our lifetime. Our journey has not been easy, yes, but no meaningful fight for freedom ever is. Let us come together with renewed determination, putting away anything that hinders, distracts our collective progress. The time to act is now. See you on October 26 or before. October 26, 2024 with at least $1,000 is not too much to request as we board the train to Buea to start funding our strategic operations during this very critical phase. Yours in solidarity. I am your servant in chief. God bless you and God bless our beautiful nation.
Apparently, he's yet to be connected, but you had something to say. Say it so that we can get a report now and then move forward into the Glencore story before he comes. Barrister Fru, you wanted to say something in that regard?
No, the question you asked, Barrister Mbeseha, what was that question again?
I was asking him what would be the reason why they are concealing it. We all know they are not ready.
You see, okay. Let me try to answer that question. And I remember, listen, there are three major factions that are pointing at each other, and their daggers drawn at each other. You have the Bulu group, and the Nangai Boko group, and the Northerners. And I don't know, they are trying to negotiate something in the background, which is not holding. They have done, almost all the key players have gone to Geneva, except the Northeast. So I believe that if they are still working in secrecy, they don't want to announce anything, it is because they are afraid of the unknown in the streets of Yaoundé and Douala and other La Republic cities. They are afraid of that unknown, so they are still trying to see how they can handle it in the background, working with the French, working with I don't know who. That is what is happening.
That's a hypothetical analogy, but that could still be very tangible with the look of things. Barrister Mbeseha, please. Unfortunately, you're back.
Are you getting me now?
Very clear.
Yes.
Are you getting?
Very clear right now.
It's better.
I was saying that the delay is deliberate. It has been practical all the time. That's the same thing they did in war. When before Bonny died, they controlled the succession based on 1959 agreements. That's what happened in Chad. That's what happened in Ghana. That's what they are doing here. The problem is just that. The problem is who comes after Paul Biya, who sucked him. And they've been trying this for the past 3 years. When they floated Frank Biya as the successor, sent him to the southern Fumban, sent him to Ria up there in the north. So that's been going on. But they're unfortunate because when they did that to Hufod Boigny, to Gabon, to Chad, the social media was not what it is today. So they just cut off race. They knew that Paul Biya would die. He's an old man. So they want to control who comes to succeed him. Can they do that? I doubt. Given that even back in Cameroon, these are against arranged succession, strongly against them. They knew that. That's why they sent the French ambassador to Cameroon. It was not because of the Ambazonian problem alone, no. They saw the end of Biya coming by virtue of age. They saw the ground shaking below their feet. And so they've been trying to control succession. Who comes in to protect French interests in Cameroon, just like they did they tried. In the rest of the places, they do it by military coups. They overthrow leaders, put their own leaders there in Central African Republic, in Chad, in Burkina Faso, in Mali. So the French are used to doing this. But again, as I've said, they are cut off because of the social media. And I had this opportunity. This debate would not even be on. But for the fact that a certain Christian who put out on his ABS that Paul Biya was dead. Frenzy over now being repeated
Prior to that
because
time,
the
a lot of other people had
number
put it, but
they
apparently
cannot
he
continue
came and
that
just
have
Barrister Mbeseha. I think he was not the only one who would have made the world to
yeah.
think that Biya was there. You had a lot of people would have said it, but now he also came and said it, and in addition, that went viral. So now I want us
The
to,
whatever is the case, somebody put it on social
yeah,
media, went viral. France cannot control the social media anymore. Over to you.
yeah, yeah. So I want us to move into something very critical, where then we will get into an aspect that reiterate the importance for our people to get involved with the draft. And this has to do with Chantal Biya's involvement and how she finds herself entangled with Glencore and the fraud that is in Glencore. Now, we have seen reports out there, a certain director of Chantal Biya's company, that's Tradex. We know that she is the main shareholder and probably owner of Tradex. It's really a question how a lady that was probably a call girl was invited into a party and then got married and is owning a multi-million dollar industry like that. Well, that aside, it's a discussion for another day. But this Chantal Biya, a director involved, how can a director of Tradex, which means that Tradex as an institution is also involved in Cameroon's fraud that has to do with petroleum. Uh, where we need to come in there, because we have a great interest in that Glencore fraud in Cameroon, because they're exploiting our fuel. Where I'd like us to come in there is, could Chantal Biya's involvement be, because when you put in one and two now, Muna has been crying. We know he has political power, and he feels that pressing on this can create pressure in Yaoundé and can give him leverage to win some trust, so he can become president in Yaoundé. He can replace Biya in Etude. As we're looking at the stakes involved, could this be one of the reasons for the delay? Where Cameroon is not even willing to prosecute those who participated fraudulently with Glencore, because apparently, Madam First Lady can be entangled in that fraud. I'll begin with you, Barrister Fru.
Paddy, I don't believe that the British court will yield to the caprices of African dictators and their wives. No, I think that there is a reason for that adjournment for 2 years. The British are not stupid. The British know that the subject matter is in the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. That court knows where the petroleum is coming from, where the stealing of the petrol is coming from. Cameroon is exploiting petroleum in the territory of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. I think, from my understanding, I think that it is a way of giving an opportunity for other parties to be heard. And I was thinking, I have discussed it very sparingly with Barrister Mbeseha, that is there any possibility that we can file an interpleader to join that matter in London? Because the subject matter, the corpus delicti is coming from the southern Cameroons. Given the stakes on the ground, I don't know. I think I'm not going to discuss it now, but I think that Barrister Mbeseha, myself, and Barrister Ghana, we will have to make a concerted decision to see how we can join that Glencore matter, because we cannot just let it fly. We cannot just let it fly. The question is, I know everybody will be asking, you'll be joining as what? Because we are not yet a country. But the people of Ndian own that land.
Yeah, by law.
What royalty?
By law.
Yes. What royalty has the public paid to the people of Ndian for exploiting petroleum on their territory? Therefore, we can use the people of Ndian to file an interpleader to say that oil that we are talking is being exploited for so many years, and not a single penny of royalty has been paid to the natives of that place, and file that
You
with the
see,
court so that the court can hear.
I want us to focus on Chantal Biya's implication, because that's what to me
Yes,
makes the
I
news.
am coming. I am coming.
Yeah.
I am coming. Tradex that I used to know, Tradex was first a government corporation. I don't know how it ended up in the hands of Chantal Biya. If we're talking about Tradex being involved in the Glencore case, let's say that it is that Chantal Biya is a major shareholder in Tradex. Now, I'm not aware, but if that is the case, we cannot sue Tradex in Cameroon. We will have to join Tradex with Glencore and proceed in that English court, because a thief that steals your thing and starts dividing it, all those who are receiving portions of that will are as guilty as the thief himself. So we'll be joining. That's my thinking. We'll have to join Tradex. We'll have to join Tradex and get to that court in England and see if we can be heard.
Okay, again, Barrister Mbeseha, let me come to you there now. I am thinking, if I'm reading the story, that this Seda man who was director of Tradex, and that for long Cameroon has not been responsive to implicate or to talk about those who have been involved in the Glencore fraud. I would think he is being victimized, so that the association as a whole, like the same thing they did to Moja when they were anticipating war crimes against their proxy, they had to start arresting people like the Mojas. I would think that the director that has recently been indicted is a victim of circumstance, or that was dismissed and currently being apportioned with some blames, is a victim to cover up the real person that should be held responsible. And I would think Chantal Biya owner is directly implicated by Mbeseha, please.
I think we have a different reading of the thing. I think most of us misunderstand what it's all about. You see, the guy you're talking about, Tradex, prior to becoming the Director General of Tradex, that guy was the commercial manager of SNH. SNH is a government corporation. To be the commercial manager of SNH was so strategic. It is so important. And if he moved from there to Tradex, it is more important than being the commercial manager of Sonara, of SNH. But to make a long story short, Tradex is dealing with the exportation of gas and oil. Sonara is producing the gas and oil. SNH is dealing with the commercialization of gas and oil, which according to Mr. Fru, and which is right, all come from India. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is Tradex, Sonara, SNH, everybody dealing with gas sales in Cameroon. Everything ends up at the presidency. Everything ends up at the presidency. The shareholders of Tradex in the majority are Cameroonians. Let us put it like that. and the bulk of them are in the presidency. I look at the whole presidential palace and the institution. By my own description, it's a family club. Whether it is Chantal Biya, Blenda Biya, Ayolo, Ngongo, or whoever at the presidency, it's a private club of family members, of in-laws, and so on and so forth. That's what it is. That's what it is. It is difficult to break through that cord, at least in the present day today Cameroon. As we speak, I've said it in the other presentation before, as we speak, all the money that comes from oil deals, be it from Sonora, be it from SNH, be it from Tradex, all the monies are not, only the president knows officially. Everything that is related to the presidency. The part that is sent to the budget is authorized by the president. What is not sent into the budget, the president does not explain what he does with it. That's why you find people who don't work in the presidency, but they're part of the presidency, they're blender. They fly in private jets. What's their job description? Nothing. So the Chantal Biya is so entangled by virtue of being in the presidency. And I doubt how many of us sit here and think that Chantal Biya does not control the presidency, the chunk of it, especially in the alien age of Mr. Paul Biya. The president is under the control, in the present contemplation, under Chantal Biya. And so they control that thing. I remember in one of the videos, Mr. Akeremuna said that he had gone to Sonora to ask about the dossier for this Glencore. And he was told that everything had been transferred to the presidency. So there's no access to it to the presidency. What you expect from a London court, I'm sure most people are mistaken. The London court is not coming to prosecute Paul Biya. It's not coming to prosecute you or me. If they found out where the people took the money. Do that.
So who are they going to be prosecuting?
The London Con is prosecuting Glencore.
Prosecute us. All they did, Glencore, yeah, they're not prepared to them. Akerimona has gone the extra mile to compile a dossier and give to the highest court there in Cameroon. Investigate and prosecute these people. They will not do it until the presidency authorizes them. Even if it authorizes them, they will not prosecute them until the court put their barrier from the presidency to indict anybody. That's why I've said corruption is in the eyes of the person. What you and me consider as corruption, in the eye we are one day, they don't think it is. What London, in fact, they are prosecuting Glencore in London and us. Not because the broke Cameroon,
So
they are
if I
persecuting
understand
them.
your implication, if I understand what you're explaining, Barrister Mbeseha, there are two things you've said there very of great importance. Chantal Biya is implicated because of a vital role from the presidency. That's in the Unity Palace
Sure.
in the 2D.
Yes.
She's also implicated as a stakeholder or probable owner of Tradex. Now,
Sure.
the second aspect, which is of vital concern, is you're saying that the court is prosecuting Glencore. So are we saying that individuals that are linked either directly with Glencore as Glencore staff or indirectly from Tradex will not be judged or judged as individuals?
Let me try. That's what I was trying to explain. Because Glencore
Yeah.
corruption did not only end in Cameroon, it extended to the other African countries. And I was trying to explain that the prosecution of Glencore in London and in the US on the fact that they violated British law, which say companies shall not operate, shall not give bribe, shall not corrupt.
Yeah.
American law says any country registered in the United States be corruption free. They confess to doing this thing abroad, violating American law in the case of the United States, violating British law. If they were to come and prosecute the individuals in those different countries, they will come and prosecute maybe the director of SNH. And of course, the director of whoever was in charge in Gabon, in the center, in the Congo, in Nigeria, where it worked. Those individuals in countries, depending on that country, before the
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
flying
I
to
wanted
London.
to hear. Your network is really not at its best, and I want you to work on it while Barrister Fru speaks, so that we can get into the newsroom and take a particular report that is of critical importance to prosecute the conversation. But then, Barrister Fru, talk to us, please.
Yes, please. The critical question: why would a court in London adjourn that matter for such a long period of 2 years? And I think it is in matters of corruption. It is not only he who gives corruption, who corrupts. It's also the person who receives the fruits of corruption. The general manager of Tradex is being tried in a court in Yaoundé, a special court, tribunal special in Yaoundé on that matter. Who knows the orders from Sonara, from SNH, and beyond? Maybe the court has decided that they will not only try he who has given, who has corrupted, but those who have been corrupted, they must also be brought to court. That is why there's such a long adjournment. That is the only way I can see that kind of adjournment. It is unusual for a British court to adjourn a matter for 2 years. It's unusual. So like I said before, maybe the court is waiting for those parties that are involved, and
Yeah.
I think that we should through the local people of Ndian file an
Are you getting
interpleader
me?
in that case,
Yeah, we can hear you, but your video is not
because
there now. But we can hear you.
the exploitation of oil and gas from Ndian, nobody has benefited from the royalties that were supposed to be paid to the local people, up to and including as we speak. Ndian has no roads. Ndian is enclaved. Ndian is in the forest. It's in the creeks, and yet that oil was taken from that area. Otherwise, I don't see a reason why a court will adjourn the matter for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. You're not talking about our strategic approach, and I agree with you that approach, which if it is feasible legally, it should be handled. But then there's another aspect which you have mentioned, and that is where my concern is the uncomfortable delay in the legal proceedings. That is, you are not the only barrister that is complaining. Barrister Kerem Muna has also complained that he doesn't understand in different parts of the world the legal process was faster than Cameroon. And now the way Cameroon functions, you can easily interpret their next move. They are very predictable. I would think that the prosecution of this general director is anticipation of what Cameroon is thinking will be the court outcome. Mr. Mbeseha, you may want to conclude there so that we get the. If you're good with your sound now, you may want to conclude what you're saying there so that we can move on. Can you hear me,
No, he's
Barrister
frozen.
Mbeseha?
Yeah, my
He's
problem is
frozen.
sometimes I'm getting you. I'm getting you.
He's breaking up. We cannot hear.
Okay. We're going to move on and probably
Yeah,
we will be coming back into that. Can you hear me?
what I was saying, are you getting me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
It's it's
Now,
uh, it's it's bad.
yeah, as it stands today, we're actually talking about we're talking about, oh, we have you there twice, but we're talking on something. Barrister Mbeseha is back. Barrister Mbeseha, can you hear us now?
Yes, I'm getting you.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I'm getting you. I
Yes,
was
speak
saying
to us,
that the
please.
problem we have is
Yeah,
sometimes
it's still not good.
we jump to conclusion.
It's still not good.
Getting you.
It's but
I'm
we are not
getting
getting
you.
you.
You cannot get me.
Okay, what we are doing, Barrister Mbeseha, I heard one of the
I don't know
words you
why.
made. You mentioned. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, are you getting me now?
Yes, it's much better
Yeah.
now.
Are you getting me now?
It's much better now.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was saying that the problem is, I was saying that the problem is this sometimes too fast. The case in London, which is again, which the Cameroon is Cameroon government a complainant? Is Sonara Tradex announced in the case in London? No, the complainants in London do not include Cameroon. Do not include Democratic Republic of Congo, who were off in the Glencore. And so I don't know where they are trying. The general manager are not aware of that. But if the
No,
general
they are trying him in
manager,
Yaoundé. In Yaoundé.
listen to me, I'm listening to you. I'm saying if they are trying the Cameroon judicial system concerned, choose whom that's how the system is set up. For the
It's breaking up. I
Okay,
cannot hear one word.
okay. Mbeseha, you may want to go log out and fix your internet. We can't hear you. So try not to insist. Just log out and have your internet fixed so that we can continue the conversation in a way that is
okay,
feasible. Let's move on. What we're trying to say there so that we can move on this. We're trying to say that we are making anticipation based on the way Cameroon functions. And I agree with you, Barrister Fru, because Cameroon has a way they function on issues like that. And I've done that
Yes.
many times in many different ways. So it is, we understand that the prosecution is taking place in London, but Cameroon is also doing what they are doing. And the
They
prosecution
are
could be in a
prosecuting. They are prosecuting. One of the people that they are prosecuting in the Tribunal Special in Yaoundé is the general manager of Tradex.
yeah. Now, okay, talking about the need why Ambazonians would have to uh, be involved with this transition fund drive the president is calling, why it is very critical. Sometimes we need to bring back to memory some of the things that have happened in the struggle of great significance. And one of such was this little beautiful girl, 5 years old, baby Carolois in Boya, that will be losing her life for 500 because a gendarme was seeking for a bribe of 500. Star Smart went down memory lane and had to document that story for tonight's enjoyment. Can you hear me, Star?
do you get me now?
I would like to speak. I just got you shaking your head. Can you hear me, please? I want you to speak. Can you hear
Answer.
me? Can you
I'm
speak? I can't hear you.
yeah,
Yes, I
Oh,
cannot hear you.
she doesn't have
yeah.
That's why
volume.
yeah, I would like you. I like you to speak. And I would like the technicians to work on your sound immediately. Yes, Barrister Mbeseha, go ahead.
No,
Your
there's no
sound
way.
is
Pastor
your
Mesa is
sound is still not good. If Star Smart sound is good, can you speak now? Let me hear you, Star Smart. Star Smart, I can still not hear you, and I don't know why that is happening. And I would think that the studio should have factored that out when they saw you on the screen. Can you speak now?
Are you getting me?
Okay, Star Smart sound is still not good.
Or
Dear Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, I want to inform you that we are postponing our mega launch of the Ambazonia Transition Fund by 1 week. That means the launch is now scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of October 2024, and the time is 8 p.m. Boya time. Instead, on Saturday, the 19th of October, I will be holding a planning meeting, an extended planning meeting with the federal constituency to ensure a very successful event. Here is my open letter to all our members, supporters, and well-wishers of the Ambazonia struggle. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you all for the relentless sacrifices you have made over the years towards our collective fight for the restoration of our sovereignty as Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Your efforts, sacrifices, and unwavering dedication have carried this struggle forward, and we are now entering a critical phase, what I call the transition phase. And this demands even greater unity, focus, and sacrifices from us. However, as we press on, we recognize that some of our most valuable supporters and actors are showing signs of fatigue, and that is natural. To those of you who once stood in the forefront of this struggle, giving sacrificially of your time, resources, and energy, but step down your commitment for a season. I humbly appeal to you that the work is not yet done. The dividend of our labor is now within reach. But now, more than ever, we need you to rise again, all of us, and strengthen this movement, strengthen our endeavor as we push towards the finish line. This is the moment when our continued support is most crucial. To our brothers and sisters at home and abroad who have watched from the sidelines, this is your call to join the train, or you will be left out permanently. We are transitioning into a decisive phase in our struggle, and we want to number our winning team now. The sacrifices made by so many of us will be in vain if we do not seize the opportunity before us. There are movements, if I can tell you, happening right now, both within Ambazonia and without, that we must take full advantage of. The stakes are extremely high, higher than ever. It is like a farmer who toils through the seasons, but if he lacks the means to harvest, to gather the harvest, all his hard work will be in vain. It is not the time for factionalism. It is not the time to follow the cliques. It's not time for division. It is not the time to dwell in what separates us. We must unite, setting aside differences in ideology or approach. We need to focus and do our utmost singularly towards the common goal that binds all of us: the freedom, the unconditional freedom and restoration of Ambazonia. We must join hands and contribute to this transition phase as if everything depends on it right now, because it does. If we falter now, just to repeat myself, all the sacrifices of yesterday will be wasted. The blood, the sweat, and the tears that we have shed for our cause must not be forgotten. And we owe it to ourselves, to our fallen heroes, the patriarchs, and to our future generations to ensure that Ambazonia is free indeed in our lifetime. Our journey has not been easy, yes, but no meaningful fight for freedom ever is. Let us come together with renewed determination, putting away anything that hinders, distracts our collective progress. The time to act is now. See you on October 26 or before. October 26, 2024, with at least $1,000 is not too much to request as we board the train to Boya to start funding our strategic operations during this very critical phase. Yours in solidarity. I am your servant in chief. God bless you, and God bless our beautiful nation.
Yeah, I understand, Barrister Fru, and everyone, that there is a mobilization meeting. I think the president is trying to encourage people on the need. I'm not sure that you, Barrister Fru, need that kind of encouragement. It's not a strategic meeting. There's echo coming in from Undaunted Studio. I'd like you to fix that. And I also want you to be sure that your sound is good now. Um,
tyrants.
so while we're preparing for that, there is this report that I think is of great importance that we do take it. That will help Ambazonians who might be doubting why we need to draft
May
or
we don't
phone
play this
ourselves
stuff.
out of this. And I understand that Star Smart, you have been working on that report. Can you
Make
hear me
reason for
now?
you to passively. You did not check sound. Instead of you to just admit you didn't check sound,
Star
you're here
Smart, can you hear me now?
lying on my head, telling me I don't
Star
get
Smart,
chance
can
to
you hear
talk.
me now?
We cannot.
Dear Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, I want to inform you that we are postponing our mega launch of the Ambazonia Transition Fund by 1 week. That means the launch is now scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of October 2024, and the time is 8 p.m. Boya time. Instead, on Saturday, the 19th of October, I will be holding a planning meeting, an extended planning meeting with the federal constituency to ensure a very successful event. Here is my open letter to all our members, supporters, and well-wishers of the Ambazonian struggle. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you all for the relentless sacrifices you have made over the years towards our collective fight for the restoration of our sovereignty as Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Your efforts, sacrifices, and unwavering dedication have carried this struggle forward, and we are now entering a critical phase, what I call the transition phase. And this demands even greater unity, focus, and sacrifices from us. However, as we press on, we recognize that some of our most valuable supporters and actors are showing signs of fatigue, and that is natural. To those of you who once stood in the forefront of this struggle, giving sacrificially of your time, resources, and energy, but step down your commitment for a season. I humbly appeal to you that the work is not yet done. The dividend of our labor is now within reach. But now, more than ever, we need you to rise again, all of us, and strengthen this movement, strengthen our endeavor as we push towards the finish line. This is the moment when our continued support is most crucial. To our brothers and sisters at home and abroad who have watched from the sidelines, this is your call to join the train, or you will be left out permanently. We are transitioning into a decisive phase in our struggle, and we want to number our winning team now. The sacrifices made by so many of us will be in vain if we do not seize the opportunity before us. There are movements, if I can tell you, happening right now, both within Ambazonia and without, that we must take full advantage of. The stakes are extremely high, higher than ever. It is like a farmer who toils through the seasons, but if he lacks the means to harvest, to gather the harvest, all his hard work will be in vain. It is not the time for factionalism. It is not a time to follow the cliques. It's not time for division. It is not the time to dwell in what separates us. We must unite, setting aside differences in ideology or approach. We need to focus and do our utmost singularly towards the common goal that binds all of us: the freedom, the unconditional freedom and restoration of Ambazonia. We must join hands and contribute to this transition phase as if everything depends on it right now, because it does. If we falter now, just to repeat myself, all the sacrifices of yesterday will be wasted. The blood, the sweat, and the tears that we have shed for our cause must not be forgotten. And we owe it to ourselves, to our fallen heroes, the patriarchs, and to our future generations to ensure that Ambazonia is free indeed in our lifetime. Our journey has not been easy, yes, but no meaningful fight for freedom ever is. Let us come together with renewed determination, putting away anything that hinders, distracts our collective progress. The time to act is now. See you on October 26 or before. October 26, 2024, with at least $1,000 is not too much to request as we board the train to Boya to start funding our strategic operations during this very critical phase. Yours in solidarity. I am your servant in chief. God bless you, and God bless our beautiful nation.
This is amazing, this message from the president. I really want us to suspend the Glencore discussion right now. I know Barrister Mbeseha, you are connected again, and you will definitely want to make your own contribution. But that really, our idea there is just to be like watchmen, like the watchdog that looks onto the situation. There is a fund drive that is ongoing, and it's of great interest for us. And the president didn't say we should wait to start donating next week. The idea of this report that I know that Star Smart has been researching on is to remind Ambazonians of some of those reasons why we need this divorce and we need this transition ASAP. Star Smart, if you can hear me now, talk to us.
Good evening, Mr. Paddy. Well, speaking of the case, the tragic case.
Yeah, we lost your sound there in a bit.
Well, in the absence
Please,
of
can
that
you
signal,
talk to us again, please? Can you hear us now?
we take a look at the glaring images from 2021, where it shows the Ambazonian community mourning the loss of an innocent child whose life was stripped away from her by the colonial forces of occupation with impunity. The tragic murder of the 5-year-old Caroline Ndiaye in Boya on October 14th, 2021 shocked the entire world, highlighting the dangerous extent of institutionalized bribery and corruption in Cameroon. Caroline was killed by a francophone gendarme after her mother refused to pay a bribe of just 500 francs CFAs, less than $1. This cold-blooded killing underscores the ongoing genocidal aggression by the colonial regime against the peoples of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. On that fateful day in Boya, the gendarme officer fatally shot Caroline after her mother refused to comply with the bribe demand. This senseless act highlights how corruption, particularly bribery, has become ingrained in the Cameroonian society. Those in the Cameroons are notorious for what is popularly known as toll gates, where colonial forces frequently extort bribes from Amazonian citizens, which roads are not even provided for. The officer who took Caroline's life saw her as nothing more than collateral for this corrupt practice, a sentiment echoed by international observers. Former United States Undersecretary of State for African Affairs, Thibault Nard, expressed outrage denouncing this kind of system, a system where corruption leads to literal and figurative death. Bribery in the Cameroons has become so pervasive that it no longer feels like corruption to them, but rather a way of life.
The sound is gone.
Where civilians are routinely harassed for small sums of money, such as 500 francs CFAs, and the same amount that cost Caroline's life. Well, bribery as a system in the Cameroons extends far beyond law enforcement. In multiple sectors, public servants are known to expect kickbacks for services that should be provided without charge, further stifling the economic development of the Cameroons and intensifying the suffering of the populace. This is not from the top emboldens even lower level officials to treat civilians as mere resources to be exploited. Caroline's death is one of many in the colonial regime's ongoing genocidal campaign in the southern Cameroons. The regime continues to kill Amazonian civilians with impunity, as evidenced by the numerous extrajudicial killings since the conflict escalated in 2016. From the Bamenda massacre to the Ngabo massacre, and so many more. These atrocities show no sign of abating. In each case, those responsible face no consequences, a clear message that from the colonial government, that Amazonian lives hold no value in the colonial government's eyes. As we continue to mourn the likes of Caroline amongst other innocent Ambazonians whose lives were snuffed out of them with impunity for the same reasons of bribery and corruption by the colonial regime and its forces. We must also remember other recent victims who have been killed in diverse circumstances. The persistence of these brutal actions speak to the regime's commitment to maintaining dominance through violence and fear. Yet, these heinous acts only strengthen the resolve of the Ambazonian people in their fight for self-determination and freedom from colonial strongholds, subjugations, oppression, and annexation. Caroline Ndiale's death is a glaring reminder of the deep-seated corruption and unchecked violence perpetrated by the colonial regime in southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Bribery has become institutionalized, and the ongoing killings of Ambazonians, innocent Ambazonians, serve as a chilling testament to the regime's disregard for human life. The Amazonian people must remain vigilant in their quest for justice and freedom, knowing that each innocent life taken is a call to action in the face of genocidal aggression. With this, we'll hand over to you, Mr. Tarh Paddy. This was back in 2021, but it's nowhere close to stopping. The genocides continue, the bribery and corruption continue, the extortion continue. Mr. Paddy.
That was amazing there. Thank you very much. That's smart. Barrister Fru, Barrister Mbeseha, if your sound is good now, I hope you want to cue in after Barrister Fru. Barrister Fru, please talk to us.
Well, today makes 3 years since our baby was slaughtered in Boya, and of course, a little bit after that, another baby was slaughtered in Bamenda, baby Tato. And well, those are just a few. I don't want to go through the list of the genocide, beginning with Ngabu and so on and so on. This is what we will never forget. We can never forget. So all the noise in La République de Cameroon talking about solving the Ambazonia crisis immediately before the new government takes over. I don't know how they are going to do that, but it doesn't concern us. The only thing we want from La République de Cameroon is to come to the table and let's finish it. We are no longer, we are not part of La République. We will never be. We will not be, and we don't want to be. So whatever they are saying, that engages only them. But we are saying that all the killing, all the genocide that have taken place on our territory are well documented in the Ambazonian genocide library.com, and they are there for the international community to see what we have been through or what we are continually going through. So the events in La République de Cameroon have just given us the impetus to fight on and secure our country and make sure that whatever is taking place out there should not spill over our territory, should not affect us in any way. And the only way is to make sure that we secure our territory. And that is why we are calling on every Ambazonia, wherever you are. If you have never given a penny for this struggle, this is your redemption time. Please come on board, but bring $1,000 or more. We are not taking anything less than $1,000 because this is a crucial period. And if you don't want to join the train to Boya, that is your problem. But it is also a problem for the nation. But how? We will survive. But you, as an individual who has been hanging on the fence, you say that one thing, you don't want to contribute, you don't want to do anything, keep standing on the fence. But this transition funding is for you to redeem yourself right now. So come on board. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Barrister Mbeseha, please talk to us.
Well, I think the pictures of baby Martha are just a reminder that a reminder of what we've gone through the past 7 to 8 years. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? Are you getting me? Are you getting me?
Yeah, we can hear you very loud and clear, please. If I don't hear you, I'll tell you.
Okay, I was saying that the death. I said that the death of baby March is a reminder of what through the past several years. But what happens to like we do to Cameroon? We should take this. Whether somebody gets the throne of the presidency, whoever that person is, will take judicial notice and have only one word for them. Whoever goes to succeed Paul Biya in the interim or permanently should know that they have a war to fight. We're waiting for them on the negotiation table, be it Paul Biya by himself, by his delegation, his wife, his daughter, or any other person sitting in it today. We're waiting for them because I said earlier this week, all wars end over the negotiation table. We're entitled to freedom. It's right. Even if we're part of them, such a gruesome genocide committed on the way from it. South Sudan is a good example. But we'll not walk away from it talking. We will talk as we're talking, but the better part is the fighting. And the fighting is done with money. This talk we're talking is money. To show them that we're up to the task, we have to fight them. And the fight will depend upon our contributions out of pocket. We don't have minerals that we sell. We don't export anything. Nobody's helping us but ourselves. So let us come on board and draft. Let those who have been drafting continue to draft and even double or triple their efforts. Those who have not come on board ever since should come on board, knowing that this journey is for all of us. We're not leaving you behind, you'll be part of us. And so you must be part of the fight. Fight, fight, donate, contribute, draft. Over to you.
That's indeed an amazing issue and something of great importance there. You know, this child's situation was allegedly because of one simple thing, which is something that's disgraceful because of 500. That's how this was just a spotlight situation. But we've had a lot of our people being tortured, victimized like Caroline, simply because a colonial officer wouldn't get their bribery. And so this a lot. I want us to move into something else, Barrister Fru and Barrister Mbeseha. I just would hope that the undaunted ladies this time are not having hitches with their sound. This is quite instrumental for us to consider as we proceed with the discussion. We have seen the same way when Weber advised them, and they looked at Weber and they told Weber, et puis vous allez faire quoi? That arrogant, Bulu Betty method of administration, Okala Bilai is assuming that it is going to work with. In fact, what the Ambazonian response to their arrogance has not taught them any lessons. Reports has it that a Dio was kidnapped or arrested by Biafran separatists, and the first response of Okala Bilal is a threat. He will later on try to apologize and sought for diplomatic relations. But apparently, the Biafran separatist armed group is adamant to whatever stance he would have taken. and one of their fighters has sent out a message. Onye has been following up that report. Please, do you want to talk to us on that?
Hello, Mr. Talk, can you hear me?
Very loud and clear, please.
All right, so yesterday, while Barrister Mbeseha joined us on Undaunted, we reported that the colonial governor, Bernard Okalai Belai, has come to realize that diplomacy is better than threats and the use of fists. So, in a surprising turn of events, Colonial Governor Bernard Okalai has shifted gears in the ongoing kidnapping saga of the Colonial Divisional Officer Iwani Roland after initially issuing threats and selling shops in Idabato, predominantly owned by Nigerians. So Governor Belai has opted for diplomacy. That was as of yesterday during the Undaunted report. So today, on the other hand, Prince Phil Richard, who is the supposed founder of the Biafran Nations League, has dismissed the initial 72-hour ultimatum given by the Southwest Governor Bernard Uklai for release of Idabacho's divisional officer as empty threats. Now, Richard expressed concerns that such threats could endanger the DO's life. He clarified that Biafran fighters don't kidnap, but rather arrest, and hinted that the dragon fighters of the Marine allegedly behind the abduction operate under this principle. So he said he was actually arrested, not kidnapped. So Richard, who was on sick leave during the incident, emphasized that his group doesn't engage in kidnapping. Instead, they target those deemed threats to their cause. So Prince Will, that's the Biafra Nations League leader, stands contrast with Governor Belai Okalai's assertion that Cameroonian laws will be strictly enforced in Idabacho, predominantly inhabited by Nigerians and for some reason some Cameroonians as well. So tensions in Bakassi Peninsula have escalated so far with these separatist groups like Black Marine and Dragon Fighters and all of that clashing with Cameroonian forces. So the region's instability stems from historical disputes over its status, with Richard advocating for Biafran independence on that piece of area. So the question that arises from putting up this report is, who owns the Bakassi? Because this has raised so many controversies before now. Before now, I can remember Barrister Fru and Barrister Mbeseha expressing in full briefings the ownership of Bakassi. Tonight is another night that we would want both barristers to also throw in the weight. We remember that the last time Barrister Mbeseha was advising that there is so much in front and so much at stake for Ambazonians to focus on, and the owning of Bakassi shouldn't be the fight. But now that we are seeing two soldiers fighting over it and seeing controversies arising from it, just maybe this might be another night for both barristers to lecture the world on what and how the Bakassi should even be treated going forward. Mr. Tarh.
Yeah, Onye, for us to answer your question, who owns Bakassi, I would say straightforwardly before giving the mic to the lawyers. I think that is not a question that will be answered and authenticated on this platform. And you also mentioned Okala Bilai thinking or opting for diplomacy. Well, diplomacy should be probably with negotiations with them releasing their deal, but not about ownership of Bakassi, because that is a discussion that Ambazonia will have on the negotiation table. But the actions right there, right now, is evidence of anarchy. You have Ambazonian forces there. You have Biafrans, which is normal because you have Biafrans have been resident there. But that the owner of that place is definitely the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. So who owns back is not what I want us to focus on now. I just want us, the lawyers, to look at something. Cameroon's character, Cameroon's behavior in the face of situations that can be de-escalated. Cameroon's actors in the Cameroon government led or ignited or catalyzed the war, facilitated the war in 2016 and 2017. There, instead of de-escalating the riots and appeasing the people with basic dialogue, they got brutal. And this Bulu, Okala Bilai, assumes that that is the way out on every situation. But the Biafran separatist armed group is telling them never. I begin with you, Barrister Fru.
Yes, Okala Bilai and all his colleagues, all Francophone administrators that I have gotten to know are primitive people, are illiterates, they know nothing in diplomacy. They act like they are what they call themselves chef de terre, and they act like barbarians. How can you talk like that to a neighboring country, a sovereign neighboring country, Nigeria? Forget the Biafra. Biafra is not a country. You cannot talk like that to Nigeria and expect a solution, a diplomatic solution. That is what escalated the problem between Nigeria and Cameroon, leading to the Bakassi War. But that Bakassi War has been settled. The question that Okala Bilai should have been asking: who took away the colonial due? And by the way, that Ediabato and all the other islands in Indian division are owned by the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. So the taking away of that due is fair and good for us. What were they doing there? Who gave them the authority to lord it over the people of Ediabato? And Okala Bilai, instead of talking diplomatically, and in matters of this matter, a local governor has no place. It should have been handled by the foreign ministry in Yaoundé. So why does he not continue to talk like that? Why is he apologizing? And for all we care, we don't know if it is true that the duel was taken by the Biafrans, which for me is not clear who took away the duel. So let them learn some diplomacy. They have a school of diplomacy in Yaoundé that they think that they have studied there, and yet they cannot handle little things like this one involving two different countries. And you stand in your comfort zone and insult another country, giving another country 72 hours. Who the hell is he?
Giving ultimatum. Barrister.
An ultimatum. Who the hell is he? Who the hell is he?
Barrister Mbeseha, in spite of the dabbling coming in from Okala Bilai, the Biafrans have responded. And you heard it in the report. Barrister Mbeseha, talk to us, please. Barrister Mbeseha, if you can hear me, talk to us, because we need to go attend the strategic meeting with the president.
I heard if I heard Okala Bilai, he was talking to Nigeria, not talking to the Biafrans. But the most important thing for us to know is that Bakassi. Are you getting me?
Very loud.
Are you getting me?
Very loud and
yes.
Bakassi did not start today. We were living with the people of Bakassi from the 19th century. They were part of West Cameroon. We lived with them. There was no piracy there. But fast forward, Cameroon claims Bakassi, and that claim, they are forgotten. Maybe Okala Bilai do not know. The 2006 Green Tree Agreement provided what Cameroon had to do upon taking over Bakassi. They failed woefully. They have not even provided the security they provide in the 2006 Green Tree Agreement, which Green Tree Agreement was witnessed by Kofi Annan, was witnessed by the United States, was witnessed by France, was an international agreement. They have not implemented it. What happened in Bakassi, was it predictable? Of course. Bakassi is an area full of piracy. But there, So why would you risk your administrator there without adequate security? Ambassadors don't have any responsibility to provide security in Bakassi. Now, yeah, one day. And again, I've said it about several times here. When they adopted that deal, they took him in a flying boat and they saw him going. They didn't have any other flying boat of their own to chase. And so, why do you put these people at risk in Bakassi or Batu, where all the riches of Cameroon are coming from? 60% of the wealth comes from there. It costs to provide security just their own flying boat. The provided is making those threats. It's a practical impossibility for any one day. And change person of the who are Nigerians. They undertook in 2006 in the Green Trade Agreement to let them stay there and to provide security for those guys. They have not provided security for the Idabatu residents and other Bakassi residents. And according to the governor, this happened because the duo was asking for taxes. The question, why are they taxes in the first place? What are they getting from these taxes? They shall without representation. Why are they asking them to pay taxes? The Bakassi reserves are victims of poverty, and so they cannot blame them. Talking about diplomacy is an out of, it's not even necessary because his 72 hours have failed. The ultimatum he gave 72 hours is gone, past. So it has failed. If they want to take diplomacy, fine. They know what to do. You should go to Yaoundé, top president, who know what channels to take to address the Nigerian government. Not a khaki-wearing governor in the southwest to engage Cameroon in diplomacy. That's not his job. He cannot even go across to visit a neighboring governor in Nigeria without the fiat, without the approval of Yaoundé. So Okala Belay can rant around. He cannot talk diplomacy. That's the bottom line.
Can he even go to Mondemba? Can he even go to Mondemba?
As we speak, to the best of our knowledge, the guy is still not accounted for. And so it is unfortunate that that boy happens to be one of us. He's an Ambazonian. And it's an Ambazonian because they will not dare send a blue man there because of the risk involved. So we pray for his family. Okala Bela did not even have the opportunity to save his family. We hope he survives. But again, Ambazonians are not responsible for it. Even then, their own colonial senator came out officially and said, look, this is not done by Ambazonians. It's done by some foreign people. So we're exculpated as Ambazonians.
You see, whoever did it, I like the fact that we have a forensic analysis of the situation. But I really don't care who does it.
Yes.
According to the president executive.
Yeah, but we're not Paris. Ambazonians are not Paris.
I'm not denying that. This is what my interest is. I really don't care who did it. Every colonial administrator and military in Ambazonia that is operating with orders from Yaoundé is organizing an illegal activity in Ambazonia.
Correct.
That's the point that you make clear right there. And therefore, it really doesn't matter what ends up with them. But this is the point I wanted us to focus on. The behavior of the Bulus, the arrogance, and the way they assume that they can intimidate anybody at any time to get their way. And this is going to be one of such situations which we are hoping that they may learn some lessons. This strategic meeting going on with the president right now, I think we need to participate in it. So I'd like us to conclude. It's important. We've had a long day. We've had a lot of discussion. I would like us to conclude on this issue. The alleged release of Naira of 32 out of Naira 39. Is it part of some of our influence and benefits? There is a cliche there from my perspective, but I want to first of all hear you both as we conclude this program. That's what we need to talk about. So let me hear from you, Barrister Fru.
Yes, the 37 from Taraba were our clients. We the lawyers with the lawyers I was leading, we were defending them and defending the Naira 10. And if you add 5 from Calabar, they were 37 plus 5, 42. But they have released 30 out of the 37 and 2 others. That makes it 32. The question is, why now? Well, they were not released in the court below. They were released by the Court of Appeal of Yaoundé. The matter was presented to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal dismissed the whole case against them. And they are now doing their administrative papers, and they'll be going home on Monday. The question that we ask is, what is happening? Have they seen the handwriting on the wall? Yaoundé is panicking. There's panic everywhere. As of this morning, there are soldiers on the street. They are moving armored cars from all over from the north and bringing all the heavy equipment, what they call the Shah, are down in Yaoundé. What are they preparing? Is that a war zone now? The next few days or few months will tell. But for what we know, it is not going in Yaoundé. Let them release all our people. They should release the Naira 10. They should release every Ambazonian that is being locked up in that damn prison unjustly. Well, they say, if you look at that video, Paddy, the video that gendarmes were jumping on one of us and beating him with a cutlass on the ground in mud. His name is Alphonse. He was sentenced to 20 years. And Dr. Sako and myself, we struggled and took an appeal. And his case is now in the same court that has released this 30. The Naira 10 also took an appeal, and that appeal is still pending before this very court. So we are saying that we want to see them release all our people, and that will be a good start for coming to the table. We are not begging them, but we are telling them that they should release our people right now. So that is all I know, Paddy. It is true that they will be released. They will be going home on Monday. 30 of them, plus 2 others, two other Ambazonians who were also in that court of appeal. They were all released. 32 of them. The other 7 are going before the court on Monday, the 21st, to answer a few questions. I'm sure that they will all be released. Well, I cannot say I'm sure, but I'm suspecting that all will be released.
Okay. Prior to this time, the Naira 10 particularly the government would have won the case, fight on behalf of Naira 10 in Nigeria. And Nigeria requested them to be sent back into Nigeria. But Cameroon... Cameroon has...
Yes, I did that case.
Yes.
We did that case with Femi Falana. We did that case with Femi Falana, and we'll have the judgment. For this Naira 37, listen now. For this Naira 37, yes, for this Naira 37, the Nigerian court awarded them 200,000 naira each, and since they are now being released,
I need me to coordinate this, Barrister Fru. I'm getting to that point. I want to ask a question that's a follow-up so that Barrister Mbeseha can speak. We'll get to where you're going. I'm saying that Cameroon ignored the ruling of the Abuja High Court until today. Now, the framework that Cameroon is using to have these people released is also questionable.
Paddy, let's get the facts. Paddy, let's get the facts. No, let's get the facts. The judgment was against the Nigerian. Listen now. The judgment was against the Nigerian government. Nigerian government was now supposed to bring in Cameroon to execute that judgment. It was not issued against the Cameroon government.
When you have the chance, you're going to speak. I didn't say it was issued against Cameroon government. I am
Because
saying
he said
hold on, Barrister Fru. Thank you. I'm saying that there was an order from Nigeria to have this individual sent back to Nigeria. Correct.
Yes.
Am I correct? That's what I want us to get to. We'll get to your fast forward the discussion, and there's no cohesion. So what I'm trying to find out is the framework Cameroon is using right now to have them released has created suspicion rather than excitement. And this is what I want us to look at critically and closely. Barrister Mbeseha, please talk to us. Barrister Mbeseha, please, can you hear me? Barrister Mbeseha, if you can hear me, speak to us, please.
He cannot hear you. There's a problem.
Barrister Mbeseha, can you hear me?
There's a problem. There's a problem.
I'm gonna try to get him reconnected because his sound might really be an issue. I'm gonna try to get him reconnected. Maybe you should go ahead, Barrister Fru. I'm saying that the framework is used to release these people has created suspicion instead of excitement, because there are those who are insinuating that Cameroon is releasing them for intelligence purposes, that some of them have been compromised. Whatever the case, whatever the case may be, Barrister Fru, I want you to speak so that I can rectify the issue, Barrister Mbeseha.
Well, Paddy, you are right. It creates a legal quagmire, because they were supposed to have been released and sent to Nigeria. They are releasing them to the Cameroon public, into the Cameroon public. They are refugees. They are supposed to be released to where they were refugees. Now that they are releasing them, let's wait and see Monday where they will be sending them to. If they send them to Nigeria, then we can conclude that it's execution of the judgment that was issued against the Nigerian government. Because the Nigerian government participated in handing over these refugees to Cameroon in violation of an international convention. So we are waiting to see what happens on Monday, whether they will just be released into the Cameroonian public. And I don't know, they don't have any traveling papers, they don't know identification papers. So I'm still to see what is going to happen on Monday. But I am talking to Barrister Victor, and he will tell me where they have been released to. So
Now, I'm happy that you've now gotten where. Yeah, I'm happy now you have gotten what I wanted us to talk, because we don't want to overanalyze the situation and then get distracted with the real thing. There is a cliche.
Well, I would suggest that we don't discuss too much that problem until they are released on Monday, and we'll see where they're going. Because we don't want any impediment. We don't want any impediment to that. Listen to me. We don't want any impediment to that release.
Yeah, by Mbeseha, please. I'd like to get your analogy.
I said, that's why is he talking? I don't know who's talking. Are you getting me now?
No, I told you to log out and log in again so that we could. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I've logged out and back. I get you, but you don't.
Okay, talk now, please. Talk now. Talk now.
Are you getting me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
I was saying that what is happening is not what we are saying. They are not the type of release we are asking for. is not a court release. We're asking for these people who were taken into jail, custody, all of them, to be released because they did nothing. This release, which are talking 32, has nothing to do with the case they did in Nigeria. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Why? Because in spite of the Nigerian case, whatever Nigeria, these people were tried in the military tribunal in Yaoundé. They were sentenced, some of them to 6 years, some to 7 years. They took an appeal. It is the appeal court that released them for different reasons. They were still looking for the judgment. So, I don't know. I think the Ayoktabe, Sako, and the rest did the same thing. They appealed. I'm sure their case was heard. The appeal was dismissed. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is these people were released for having won their case on appeal. They have been sentenced in the court below. We don't want a court release because they did nothing. What were they sentencing them for in the first place? The arrest from the adoption from Nigeria, from Taraba, was completely illegal. By that illegality alone, they would never even try them. Because in this country, we live in the United States. If a police guy took you on the road without a regular police warrant, the court would dismiss that thing. So it is the court release because they won the appeal on whatever merit we don't know. We don't have the details. But they have been released because they appealed their case. Not because anything happened in Nigeria, not because anybody did anything. I don't know where it was on the merit. But let me land on my point.
By Mbeseha, I want us to be clear on my objective.
No.
I'm very well aware of what you people are saying, but maybe because of connectivity, you're not getting where I'm coming from. I am not
Paddy.
arguing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
He cannot. He cannot.
No, I'm asking him all of you. Good. I'm not arguing.
Listen to him.
I'm not arguing the legal framework in Nigeria and what is happening in Cameroon, but I'm saying that the framework that Cameroon would have used to release them is creating suspicion. Their objectives, because we must factor out one thing. These were individuals protected by international law in Nigeria.
Yes.
As refugees.
Yes.
Two major international injunctions were defied. First of all, Cameroon and Nigeria don't have an extradition treaty that whatever took place, therefore, was illegal. Number two, the law of non-refoulement in the Refugee Signed Convention also stipulated that protected or identified refugees cannot be sent back to the dungeons or where they're coming from. Now, what is Cameroon? Why is Cameroon releasing them within Cameroon? It's a site that we have to look into.
Well, I was trying to come to that. I was trying to come.
Okay, finish. But well, has something to say.
Let me make my point. You don't let me finish. You're not letting me finish my own point.
No, go ahead. Your line is breaking. Speak.
Who is talking now? Are you letting me?
Yeah, so you should
What
speak.
I was saying is this. Whatever is the case, I'm speaking. Maybe it's not your connection. I've said that whatever happened to them, they are being released today. In Yaoundé, the Cameroon law stipulates that if you are released, if you are in jail, and you are released from jail, it is the duty of the government that took you to jail to take you back to where they took you. That's the law. That upon releasing Agwambala and the rest, they took him back to Boya. That's why even under the law of the 1970s, when they released our people from Cholere, they brought them back to Kumba. That's their law. So legally, they are supposed to take them where they arrested them. Because their place where they were arrested arrested, they should have been tried in Kumba. And when you are arrested in Kumba, you go to your house. If you are arrested in Kumba, in Mamfe, in Bamanda, and take it to Yaoundé, upon release from jail, because you have served a full time, they will give you a certificate. They should take you back to where they took you. Because Kumba, because Yaoundé is not your resident, looking for a way to go back to where you came from. Call it Taraba, call it Kumba, call it Mamfe, or wherever. It is responsibility of government. So legally, that's what I was trying to say. They are legally bound to send them to where they arrested them. In this case, where they adopted them. They adopted them from Taraba in Nigeria as refugees. Whether Nigeria will accept them back as refugees or not is a different story. But it is the duty of the government that brought them out from Nigeria, tried them in Yaoundé, and the own courts have found that they are not guilty of whatever thing they have tried them. The own courts have released them. And so it is legally binding on the government brought them to Yaoundé to take them to where they were, hand them to be sure
Point
All
they
right.
got there safely, hand
taken,
them there,
Barrister
come
Fru,
back.
please.
And I gave the example of
Yeah.
Bamba.
Yes.
They took them back to They took Neba Fantin to That's the
Point
point I was
taken,
trying to make.
Barrister Fru, please.
Over to you.
I know you want to
Yeah,
ask a
Paddy,
question.
Paddy, I beg to differ. There are so many of our people who have been sentenced and their matters are in the Court of Appeal. So many. We have more than 2,000 of our people who are languishing in the Conde prison. 80% of them have been sentenced. And now they go and pick the Taraba, this Taraba 37 to see their case. It is significant. Your question is in order, Paddy.
Yes.
It is significant because these 37 are also mentioned in the judgment from Abuja. And why have they taken only these 37 and released them first? And where are they going to apply the law that Barrister Mbeseha is talking of? That when they release you from prison, they take you back to where you come from. Are they going to take these refugees? These are refugees. They are no longer living in Cameroon. They were living in Nigeria and Taraba State. And is the Cameroon government going to take them back there? That's why I say we should leave this matter as it is. Let Monday come and go because they will be released on Monday. Where are they releasing them? The question I will be answering from Monday going forward.
Okay. As a voice or as a man in the press that likes to push things and let them go, let's look at, could there be some diplomatic influence that is making Cameroon? There's a lot of rush action within Cameroon right now. They're either arresting their own proxies or trying to make some releases. And this is also serving the good. But I don't want to remove my eye from a game that Cameroon could have been playing. And this has to do with the identity of these people. If by law, these people, peradventure, this is hypothetical, if they stay within
These are
Cameroon,
refugees.
yes.
They are refugees.
Hold on. If by law they are released within Cameroon and they opt to stay, which means they have accepted their Cameroonians, no longer refugees, meaning that they are protected in Cameroon. Just a moment. I'm trying to say that there is a cliche. No, you are shaking your mouth or your head because you are considering the law in Nigeria. You're not thinking that Cameroon could do a release and negotiation with them to play a game, because Cameroon is good at any level of game. If that happens, that they stay within Cameroon based on the agreement with Cameroon for their release, which we don't know yet, we cannot audaciously conclude on what is happening until it happens. If that be the case, how does it affect our claims in Nigeria? I want us to think on that direction for a split second.
Let me tell you,
Good.
these people were refugees that were taken from Nigeria, abducted from Nigeria, and handed over to Cameroon. They have not lost that status of refugees under international law. They are still under the protection of the UNHCR. And therefore, releasing them in the Cameroon public does not respect, is another violation of that international convention. So I am saying, let's wait and see what happens to them from Monday going forward.
Let me hear from you, Barrister Mbeseha. You were off.
Yes. I think it's important for us to conclude this topic on this note. You see, those guys, who are, if they are released on Monday, only day after, they have the right to flood the refugee agency in Yaoundé and say, here we are. We were refugees in Nigeria. They had refugee status. Adopted, tried us here, which we were not supposed to come here. Now they have set us free. We don't want to stay here. The refugee agency, the United Nations Refugee Agency, will be obliged back to Nigeria if they want to go back to Nigeria, or to seek a third country, because it's evident now that their stay in Cameroon is unsafe. What they were escaping from, they have suffered it. They are a little bit free. The United Nations Refugee Agency would keep them sick if they don't want to go to Nigeria because of the risk of being caught again. That agency has the power to say, okay, we'll resettle you in Niger, we'll resettle you in Gabon, wherever they want. But they are within their legal right. They have the evidence now that they were escaping from Cameroon. They abducted them and brought them there and jailed them. Now they are free. They don't want to stay there.
Amazing.
Because they will face the same consequence. So that is a strategy.
I'm happy that Barrister Mbeseha, you made a contribution.
Let me learn. I overheard. Let me just finish. I overheard that someone told me, I don't know how far this is true, that they were made to sign some documents in court, promising that they will not be involved in the struggle anymore. That is good evidence.
What I would have wanted us to talk about, because I also have that intelligence.
Okay, all right.
What you have said now, you have just hit the nail on the head.
I thought we were ending the topic.
You see? No, we are ending the topic here because we're going to get back to it. We can't end here. And there's a game Cameroon is playing. You know, Cameroon doesn't just give up. There's a game. And you have just hit the nail on the head. Barrister, just to argue what Barrister Fru said, a refugee, their rights as refugees have been relinquished, but you must understand that a refugee has a right also to denounce the refugee's status by saying, hey, I'm good with my country now, I'm no longer a refugee. If that is the card Cameroon is playing on the ground, what I wanted you people to answer was the dynamics and what changes in our argument in Nigeria, which none of you have answered.
I've been, Paddy.
Yes, please.
Can I?
Please,
I've been. That thing about signing a document, until I see the document, I cannot make any conjecture, because everybody who is released from prison signs what they call bulletin. What they call it, the bulletin de crew. That is a document that allows you to move freely, because you don't have papers until you make all your papers what you'll be using. And the Court of Appeal cannot force people to sign anything. It is not the court below. It is a review of the court below that has happened. I don't see anything other than the bulletin de crew that they signed to leave, to take and leave,
and I agree with
until
you.
I see the
Hold on.
Until I see what they have signed, I cannot make any conjecture.
Yes.
Having said that, I am saying that these people they are refugees on record. And no court has a right to force people to renounce their status of refugee because they are being released. No court has that right.
Barrister Fru, agreed. Also, once you're arguing, try to look at this other angle. A refugee has a right to denounce their refugee status. And if there is any background arrangement between the refugee, those refugees that were, because one of Cameroon's intention, arresting the Naira 10, Taraba 39, or
But can I disagree? Can I disagree?
Let me finish before you disagree. One of the objectives that Cameroon would arrest them is so as also to compromise them. We cannot think that Cameroon arrested them only to torture them. Then we are probably not thinking correctly. Now, if they are compromised, the release will now become a favor of Cameroon. But if they stay resolute, then the release becomes something of good for us.
Let me tell you, a refugee who has been imprisoned in the country from where he's coming from, the country where he's coming from, that country cannot get that refugee to renounce his status. Whether the refugee does it willingly or unwillingly is immaterial. A refugee, listen, from a country where you're running from, where you were taken from a country where you're a refugee by force in violation of international convention, and you are released, and you are and that country which has power over you, the prisoner. Listen, let me finish that, buddy. He has power over you, the prisoner, and to make you to renounce your status as a refugee is illegal. They will not. They know that the world knows. The world knows that refugees are vulnerable people, and any government can take advantage of them. So don't tell me that.
But what you are opted not to listen to is the fact that we're not talking about their vulnerability. We're talking about their will. Either
can you prove that they did it willfully? Can you prove that they did it willfully?
It's not helping.
That's what I'm saying, that their behavior after they are released. I'm giving you the mic, Barrister Mbeseha. Just give me a point, please, so that I can continue the conversation. Their behavior after their release will make a definition. I've read the Refugee Convention. Barrister Mbeseha, you're aware that in 2019 and 2020, I took out time going through those documents because it was of direct interest to me. And there's somewhere that says that until you, the refugee, decide that you feel secure, or a determination is made that you feel secure, you cannot be returned back.
That will be done. That can be done only when you are out of prison, not when you are being released.
That's what you are not listening again to me. I'm not arguing with you. I'm trying to tell you that what if there is a negotiation in the prison that will be manifested outside? We are trying not to see it, and that's where I want us to look at. Barrister Mbeseha, please.
I think there's a point. We are making too many arguments for nothing. We must agree, but some will agree with us perhaps, that even a refugee at any time, anywhere, a refugee who is free can decide to go back.
Who is free? That's correct. Who is free?
Let me finish now. But let me finish now. Oh gosh. Some refugees that we had in Nigeria are back on their own.
Yeah.
Yes. Coming back to these 32 people. These 30 people I have said, once they're out of that jail, those of them who feel unsafe, some of them are free. They can say, okay, I'm out. I'm going to my house in Manfay. I will go and meet my brother and pay my taxes and go back home. That's your freedom. Yeah. Nobody's forcing you. But if you feel like you're very unsafe, you don't want to go back to Nigeria because they will catch you again. You can now move as a team to the United Nations Refugee Agency in Yaoundé. Maybe 5 of you, 10 of you, not all the 32. Those who think that they are not safe, they don't want to go back home. You can go there and say, well, we're refugees, they forced us here, they jail us. We don't want to go back to Nigeria because they will catch us. We don't want to stay here because they will kill us. Mr. Refugee of the UN, help us. That refugee agency in Yaoundé has the legal power to say, okay, we understand your plight. This is all the evidence. We will look for a third country for you who will accept you
Correct.
as refugees. We will take you there.
Or resettlement, yeah.
That's the procedure. Once those 32 people walk out of jail with their certificates free.
Yeah.
Because even the citizen say you must take me back to Nigeria. Cameroon government, let us be practical. They will not put you anywhere. You will be free to walk away and go back to your house in Manfred, in Kuma, wherever they took you.
You have made
say no, I'm
very
saying
important points. You have made 2 points.
Yeah, and then you go there and then they will keep you as a refugee.
Yeah.
Because there are people, let me land. Because there are people in Cameroon there. Now let me finish, let me just land. There are people in Cameroon like Dinka who escaped from Cameroon. They didn't go straight to the refugee camp. They went to U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé. And they sent them out. So this is all, but let them know it is important for us to discuss this. When they get free, on Monday, if they are free, they will have that option to make that choice. So that's the part I was trying to make.
Mr. Mbeseha, you have elaborately explained the 2 options which are correct. But there's something the both of you have opted either not to answer or to avoid. It's a scenario whereby these refugees come out in freedom to testify that they live in Cameroon and everything is good. And this is what I'm driving at. I'm not interested in all of these international conventions because they don't change. Once you know them, they will apply. Your right to be done.
You are bringing a scenario that cannot work. Somebody cannot.
No, just wait now. You cannot say it cannot work. We have seen. I can give examples that Cameroon has done it. What if they get out of
no?
No, wait. I want you to answer this hypothesis because it helps us in strategy.
Okay, give it.
What if they end up that they are released? Let's not avail it. Let us not say it cannot work, whereas everything is possible in Cameroon. It's not right for us to say it cannot work. What if they get released and to sabotage their struggle, they now claim that they feel free in Cameroon? That will mean Cameroon's propaganda, which is their main tool of war right now, to start telling the world that because I report with the refugees in Nigeria every day. I talk with them daily. Cameroon is telling them that it is good home. Let them come back home.
Well, Paddy, I think we are looking a very long way. I've understood your scenario. This is why I say it cannot work. Somebody cannot come out of jail who have been jailed in these circumstances. Let me say you were the one. We're talking too much. If Paddy was in Nigeria as a refugee, if you were in Nigeria as a refugee, and one of those guys walked out of jail tomorrow, Monday, and said, well, Cameroon is so good, I'm out of jail. You're out of jail. Cameroon is so good that you want to be, you're out of jail. Will you in Taraba, if you were in Taraba, or Canada, or wherever, go back because of the testimony of somebody who's from jail, officially from jail, for being jailed, not for breaking into houses, but for this revolution? Will you go back if you're a refugee? So that's the way cannot even work. Because only a stupid man will believe that someone was saved 6 years, 7 years. I said that's so good, come back. Who will believe him? Who will believe him?
No, you're talking about still misunderstanding what I'm saying, which is okay, and I think we'll have to conclude the conversation yet. You are talking about people believing them, or we believe in them. Yeah. I am talking about Cameroon's propaganda. You are talking about what people
Cameroon cannot be propaganda. How would you be saying that they didn't jail them? The government says they didn't jail them.
Hey, right now we are releasing prisoners, and our nation is free.
Paddy,
yes.
Cameroon propaganda now will go nowhere.
Okay.
Releasing refugees, and a dead president somewhere. The whole country is in chaos, and you are telling me that they have to release refugees to make propaganda against Ambazonia now? Okay, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Sako is right. But that propaganda will only work. That propaganda, that propaganda can only work. I said earlier that the tweeters were released. That propaganda will only work if they were released without trial. I can forgive everybody. Nobody's been tried. Everybody come back home. That won't
Correct.
work. But after
Correct.
somebody has saved J time, and released on appeal because they classified what you charge them for not be a crime. That propaganda cannot be used anymore because the propaganda will tend to support the idea they could go to adopt you over there, bring you, force you in Yaoundé and say, okay, everything's okay.
We need to round up this program so that we have to participate. The meeting with the president, in my understanding, is still ongoing.
All right.
According to what both of you would have said, this release is not by any international pressure. Am I correct? It's not based on pressure. It is based on Cameroon's court shockingly questioning them. We wait until Monday to see the outcome of this release. Fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak right now, the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is having a strategic discussions with stakeholders as a planning meeting ahead of Saturday, and probably discussing some issues as to why he is making this clarion call 10th month of the year 2024. I'll leave you until next week. It's been Tarh Paddy. Stay tuned.
Dear Ambazonians, fellow Southern Cameroonians, I want to inform you that we are postponing our mega launch of the Ambazonia Transition Fund by 1 week. That means the launch is now scheduled for Saturday, the 26th of October 2024, and the time is 8 p.m. Boya time. Instead, on Saturday, the 19th of October, I will be holding a planning meeting, an extended planning meeting with the federal constituency to ensure a very successful event. Here is my open letter to all our members, supporters, and well-wishers of the Ambazonia struggle. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you all for the relentless sacrifices you have made over the years towards our collective fight for the restoration of our sovereignty as Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Your efforts, sacrifices, and unwavering dedication have carried this struggle forward, and we are now entering a critical phase, what I call the transition phase. And this demands even greater unity, focus, and sacrifices from us. However, as we press on, we recognize that some of our most valuable supporters and actors are showing signs of fatigue, and that is natural. To those of you who once stood in the forefront of this struggle, giving sacrificially of your time, resources, and energy, but step down your commitment for a season. I humbly appeal to you that the work is not yet done. The dividend of our labor is now within reach. But now, more than ever, we need you to rise again, all of us, and strengthen this movement, strengthen our endeavor as we push towards the finish line. This is the moment when our continued support is most crucial. To our brothers and sisters at home and abroad who have watched from the sidelines, this is your call to join the train, or you will be left out permanently. We are transitioning into a decisive phase in our struggle, and we want to number our winning team now. The sacrifices made by so many of us will be in vain if we do not seize the opportunity before us. There are movements, if I can tell you, happening right now, both within Ambazonia and without, that we must take full advantage of. The stakes are extremely high, higher than ever. It is like a farmer who toils through the seasons, but if he lacks the means to harvest, to gather the harvest, all his hard work will be in vain. It is not the time for factionalism. It is not a time to follow the cliques. It's not time for division. It is not the time to dwell in what separates us. We must unite, setting aside differences in ideology or approach. We need to focus and do our utmost singularly towards the common goal that binds all of us: the freedom, the unconditional freedom and restoration of Ambazonia. We must join hands and contribute to this transition phase as if everything depends on it right now, because it does. If we falter now, just to repeat myself, all the sacrifices of yesterday will be wasted. The blood, the sweat, and the tears that we have shed for our cause must not be forgotten. And we owe it to ourselves, to our fallen heroes, the patriarchs, and to our future generations to ensure that Ambazonia is free indeed in our lifetime. Our journey has not been easy, yes, but no meaningful fight for freedom ever is. Let us come together with renewed determination, putting away anything that hinders, distracts our collective progress. The time to act is now. See you on October 26 or before. October 26, 2024 with at least $1,000 is not too much to request as we board the train to Buea to start funding our strategic operations during this very critical phase. Yours in solidarity. I am your servant in chief. God bless you and God bless our beautiful nation.